Hello everyone, welcome to this tutorial on how to set up public key authentication on SSH server. Alright, so that is gonna be the easy one tutorial. So let's get started. Here I have the real 8 server running on my KVM virtual machine. So let me ping that. So here as you can see, it's replying to my ping. Now let's just go ahead and connect. Before connecting to the Red Hat server, I want to make sure that I have generated the public key here. So it's not generated. Now let me go ahead and type the SSH keygen -t followed by the RSA. So RSA is the encryption algorithm for the SSH keys. So if you want to use the another one, you can also go with the TSA. And it's asking us for the default file path to save the private key and the public key. So if you want to give the another location, you can choose here. Just to make sure you have give the absolute path. So let me go with the default one. On here, I don't want to give any password for the public key. So if you are the privacy concern, then you can also give the password for the public key as well. So let me go with the default one. And so we are done and we got it. Now let's go ahead and copy our SSH key to our host. So in our case, we are just going to use the SSH copy ID followed by the -i, and it's our idrasa.pub file, that is the public key, and followed by the host name. So that will be redhat@rel-server. Let's press the enter. Now we have to accept this, and let's give the password. Alright, so public key has been copied. Now let's do the SSH redhat@rel-server. Alright, so we have been logging using our SSH public key. Now let me go on to the root server and make some changes to our SSH configuration file to use the public key instead of the password based authentication. So let me go on to the root user. Alright, so let's go on to the etc/ssh directory. I did the directory name wrong. So let's open the sshd-config. So on the SSH configuration file, we have to disallow the root user to log in from the SSH. So in order to do that, we have to uncomment this section which says the permit root login is equal to no. We have to find out the public key authentication. So it is disabled by default. We have to enable this and replace the value with S. So that is much. And let's find out the password based authentication. So here it is. We don't want our user to enter the password while connecting to our SSH server. So let's just go ahead and disable this. And let me remove this section as well. And if you want to set up something like max authentication price or the max section, so that is how many users can connect to your SSH server, or how many SSH section can be created on your host, then you can also control that using the max section. And if you want to set the limit to wrong password and incorrect password, then you can also do that with max price. So I am just going to enable these two. Security does matter, so that's why let me give the max authentication price to the 3, and let's go ahead with the section that will be only 5. Let's just keep this 6, and let me save this and put it from here, and let's do the systemctl reload SSHD. So that is much. Let me just exit from here, and let's do the authentication again. So it should connect now. Alright, so we are in. So that was it, how you set up the public key authentication. Now let me tell you something. So if you are trying to copy the SSH public key manually, then you might face the issue like permission denied or the public key related issue. So that generally happens due to the lack of improper permission to the .ssh directory or private key or the public key. Just always make sure that you have given the correct permission to the SSH directory and the public key. So let me show you what are the required permission need to be provided for the public key and private key and .ssh directory. So let me go on to my SSH directory. So let's do the ls-ld.ssh. So as you can see that we need to provide the read, write and executable permission for the owner of the .ssh directory, and we have to clear the permission of the others and the group user for the SSH directory. In the command line, we can do something like sudo, we don't need to use the sudo here, chmod 700.ssh. So this is how we provide the permission to the SSH directory. Now let's talk about the private key and the public key. So in terms of the private key and public key, we just need to provide readable permission to the others and read and write permission to the owner of the public key. And same rule is followed on the private key. We just have to give the read and write permission to the owner of the private key, just to make sure that private key remains on your host, and public key is the one which you need to distribute to the other remote host that you want to connect remotely. So that was it. I hope you get the point about the public key authentication. That is much for today. I hope you subscribe to my YouTube channel for more Linux related content. So have a nice day.